Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Franchise Fluent Podcast, where we keep you fluent in all things franchising, small business, and entrepreneurship. I'm your host, Austin Titus, and I am alone today. I do not have a guest, and we are going to enter into a new segment called Franchise Topics. And this segment is where I'm going to actually just pick one article in the franchise industry that's fairly recent and go through the article. It'll be a short article, so it's not going to take that long, but I'm going to read through some of the topics in the article, give it my 2 cents, and have you on your way. And so today the article is titled How to Attract Gen Z to Your Franchise. And the article is written by Laura Darrell, or Darrell. Sorry, Laura. Whichever correct, we pick that one. So the article, I'm going to dive into it. It starts off by saying, as baby boomers retire, franchise recruitment will shift to young entrepreneurs. With over 790,000 franchise businesses in the US and more than 75,000 in Canada, North America dominates the world in overall number of franchises. That trajectory is continuing to grow. While this is terrific news for franchisors in the economy overall, a forecasted growth rate of almost 2% in 2023 poses the question, where will all of these new franchisees come from? On top of the growth trends in franchising, the industry faces another challenge. 40% of over 12 million small businesses and franchises in the US are owned by baby boomers. And this cohort is selling out and retiring at a pace of over 350,000 units per year. So that's 350,000 baby boomers that are exiting business every single year. It's never been more important for franchisors to have new franchisee recruitment at the top of their strategic plans. Now, this part of the article, I 100% agree with. The baby boomers are mass exiting the business world. They're selling their businesses. They're passing them on to the next generation. I think it's important to look at those percentages as well as who's passing their business on to the next generation. That kind of changes the game there, and who's selling the business, who's closing the business, looking into those demographics as well. The baby boomers were very successful business owners. And I know a lot of those baby boomers have extreme doubt in Gen Z in actually running their own businesses. So not as much doubt in the millennials. They definitely had some doubt, but there's a ton of doubt and negative energy geared towards Gen Z when it comes to, running businesses. And so the article continues on to say Gen Z and franchising. While a growing sector paired with a massive generation of retirees may cause alarm in new franchise development departments across North America, some good news is on the horizon. In an entirely reimagined world of work in the post-COVID environment, people are leaving corporate America in droves. And many of these folks are finding their way into the franchised world. With an average business failure rate at the top of franchises in North America of around 2%, this is an appealing path to many leaving their relative security of corporate world behind. On top of this shakeup in corporate America is the emergence of Gen Z, the oldest of whom is now 25 years old and starting to consider their options for earning a living. The great news for franchisors is that this is the most entrepreneurial generation we may have seen. A staggering 65% of these young entrepreneurs suggest that they want to own a business and work for themselves. So, kind of breaking down that paragraph, Gen Z, I do agree with them being the most entrepreneurial generation yet. But I think that their vision of entrepreneurship is much different than, of course, the baby boomers, and a little bit different from the millennials as well. Because I feel that Gen Z has this vision of entrepreneurship as this awesome, riding a nice car, having a beautiful home, um, working from the beach on your laptop and constantly being on vacation and just being a awesome freelancer. And hey, there are worlds like that where you can do that. You can start your own business that's remote and kind of travel where you want to do, but it's not as easy to execute on that plan as it is as the Gen Z thinks it is. And so that's what I feel that they are more hinting towards when they say that they are entrepreneurial, that 65% of these young entrepreneurs say they want to own a business and work for themselves. I don't know if they know if it's all cracked up to what it is. And so, continuing on the article, reaching Gen Z today requires an openness to leveraging social media platforms, specifically TikTok, franchise recruitment on social media. With a target market already convinced they want to work for themselves, the question for franchisors becomes one of recruitment, specifically their willingness and ability to change how they've recruited new franchisees in the past. The time has come for them to adopt strategies more in line with how Gen Z accesses information and builds connections, which happens predominantly in an online world. Reaching young entrepreneurs today requires an openness to leveraging social media platforms, specifically TikTok, where an estimated 60% of their users fall into the Gen Z category, to promote your brand's franchising message and opportunities. Two new reports found that TikTok and its emerging short form videos have now replaced all other social media platforms for influencing how Gen Z makes their purchasing decisions, making this an essential platform for franchisors looking to cast a wider net with it when it comes to attracting the franchisees of the future. Add this to Add to this the recent trend of Gen Z using TikTok as their search engine of choice instead of Google. And you can see how franchisors who fail to update their franchise recruitment strategy to include a refreshed social media approach will likely miss getting their message in front of a demographic who is keen to start their entrepreneurial journey. Now, I agree with the overall tone of that paragraph that, of course, people need to adapt. Franchisors need to adapt. And if you're a franchisor listening to this, you always need to be trying new things. You always need to be searching for kind of how the market is trending and where it's going, or else you will fall behind and become a dinosaur. Now, TikTok, in my opinion, is not the best place to be advertising for franchise opportunities just yet. And the reason I say this is because Facebook was the clear number one place to advertise for franchise prospects about 10 years ago. Because why? You know why. It's because your parents were on it, your grandparents were on it. Yes, there were younger kids on it, but they weren't using it in the same way that kids today are using TikTok. They're using it for entertainment purposes and not necessarily gaining information. And so another thing here, talking about how Gen Z uses TikTok for their search engine of choice instead of Google. Now, although that may be true, people might go to TikTok and search things that they want to find out about. But typically when they search something on TikTok, they're finding videos that are related to entertainment or entertaining to them. Everything on TikTok, the whole algorithm is based off of views and clicks and likes. And the more someone views and clicks and likes the video, the more often other people are to see it. The algorithm shows it to other people. And so posts on TikTok are not based off of really their relevance of, how factual the information is or how helpful the information is. It's more based off of entertainment. Did people like it? Did people laugh? Did they think it was, fun? And so it's more of a platform for entertainment. And I do see it shifting over the next 5 to 10 years. And it will probably be one of the most important platforms to be on and advertising for your franchise or company. But right now, the people that are on TikTok are not really franchise buyers. The thing is, where Lauren, who wrote this article, is correct, is that it is important to get on those platforms now and not wait until it's too late. If you wait until it's too late, you would have missed a huge opportunity. So it is important that you do dip your toes into these new platforms, even if they are just goofy, fun platforms. It's important for you to experience them. In my experience, Google is still by far the most effective search engine and the best way for franchisors to advertise for their franchise opportunities. And so, carrying on with the article, encouraging young entrepreneurs. Another interesting consideration when looking at Gen Z as a new pool of franchisee candidates is the reality this cohort faces when contemplating the possibility of home ownership. A recent study by McKinsey found that a staggering 59% of Gen Z does not expect to own a home in their lifetime because they've simply been priced out of the housing market. Franchisors who focus their messaging on encouraging young entrepreneurs to buy a franchise business first to help them accumulate wealth that could help them achieve their dream of home ownership could potentially strike a chord with this cohort and flip their perspective, so to speak. Buy a business first, which speaks to their entrepreneurial nature, and offer a solution to help them build their net worth to one day afford to buy their first home. So that last paragraph, hits home a little bit for me because I've seen a lot of friends that I have kind of go through what Lauren is talking about in this article, struggling to get to home ownership because prices have gone up so much. And I'm in South Florida, and so you guys haven't seen any type of price hikes like we have. And so the prices have 2, 3, 4x here in South Florida. And it's really my generation and, the older Gen Z generation that has struggled with this. I'm 29 years old. Fortunately, I did get the opportunity to buy a home quite a few years ago at a decent price. But at this point, it's gotten absolutely crazy. And so I've never actually considered the perspective that Lauren put in this article on flipping that script there and franchisors advertising to Gen Z saying, hey, you can put forward X amount of money, maybe it's 50 to a couple $100,000, and you could start your own business, accumulate wealth, and save up to own your own home, finance the business. But another thing is you can also finance a home. And so starting your own business or purchasing a home are two completely different types of purchases. It's really interesting to kind of see what Gen Z and, millennials actually too will do through this different types of time. And, there's a lot of things going on in the world, and a lot of people are kind of holding back. We're seeing the real estate market start to kind of even out. And so it'll be very interesting to see what happens. But thank you, Lauren, for writing that article. And thank you, everybody, for listening. Please go on and share this episode on YouTube, subscribe on YouTube. We're on all the social media platforms, YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn. Follow us at Franchise Fluent. And on Twitter, it's at Fran Fluent. So thanks, everybody, for listening.